Hey y'all, here's the product property for exponents. And what the product property for exponents just simply says is if you have a base with an exponent, we'll say a to the m, times another base that's exactly the same with a different exponent, all we got to do is take that base, keep it the same, and add the two exponents together. But the bases have to be the same in order to do that, and you have to be multiplying between those bases. So let's look at an example. We'll start from left to right here. I've got 4 of them. It says a to the 7th times a to the 12th. Well, notice that the bases are exactly the same in this case. So all I do is I say a to the 7th plus 12. And I have a, 7 plus 12 is 19, a to the 19th power. Okay, and that's all we have to do in that case. Now we go to the next one and notice that everything in this one is also multiplication and the bases are all the same. That's going to be the key. And it doesn't matter how many, just as long as the base is the same, we're just going to say C, well, is 3 plus 8 minus 5. Well, let's just go ahead and simplify that. 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 minus 5 is 6. So it is just simply C to the 6th power in that case. Nice and easy, nothing too hard. Just as long as the base is the same. So now let's go off to the next one. And we can move things around as much as we want when it comes to everything being multiplication. So if you look at the statement that's in front of us, it says 2 times d to the 7th times -4 times d to the 9th times d to the 5th. Everything in there is multiplication, so we can move those values and terms around that look similar. So I can write 2 times -4 times d to the 7th times d to the 9th times d to the 5th. Okay, once I have that, I can figure out, well, what is 2 times -4? It is -8. Once again, we have all bases are the same, so we can add those exponents. So what is essentially d to the 7 plus 9 plus 5? Okay, so we just write -8 times d, 7 plus 9 is 16 plus 5 is 21. So we write -8d to the 21st power. Let's go to the last one. Very, very similar to the third problem we did in this case. We are going to do the same thing. We're going to move variables and values around, and we're going to make sure that the bases that are the same are next to each other. In this case, you're going to notice that there is a 9 and an X and a Y in this case, but that's nice and easy. So first of all, I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 9. I'm going to write X to the 10th next to it. I'm going to write X to the 5th next to it. I'm going to write Y to the 3rd next to it, that, and Y to the 3rd next to that. Now, what you do have to pay attention to is this negative that's there, and I left a space right here. This is just simply saying -1. Okay, because it's right in front. So I'm going to move that negative all the way up in front and say times -1. That's going to be a big key in these, paying attention to those negative values. After that, it's just basic multiplication and using the product property and making sure that when the bases are the same, we add the exponent. So 9 times -1 is -9. X times to the 10th times x to the 5th is the same thing as x to the 10 plus 5. And y to the 3rd times y to the 3rd is the same thing as y to the 3 plus 3. And we just rewrite it, -9, x, 10 plus 5 is 15, y to the 3 plus 3, which is 6. And there we have it. We have just simplified using the product property.